Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I too want to thank you for your opening statement, both in its tone and its substance. I want to focus particularly on the treatment of women in our communities and the role of corporations and the media and the entertainment industry and consumers in that treatment. Like everyone else, I'm sure, I want my granddaughters to be brought up in a society that values their worth and teaches them to be confident and empowered members of our community. I want them to grow up free from physical and verbal abuse. Unfortunately, we've not yet created a society in which that is guaranteed. Girls and young women of color in particular are faced with repeated onslaughts of disrespect and bigotry. As we saw so dramatically with Don Imus's remarks, even those who accomplish great things are not immune. All of us have a responsibility to work to end racism and sexism and bigotry in all forms. And I'm glad that industry representatives, artists, academics, and women's advocates have gathered here today to begin a productive dialogue. I believe that all parties at this hearing bear a special responsibility to ensure that the culture in which our children and grandchildren grow up is a tolerant one. There are several fundamental questions here. What kind of culture do we want for our children? How do we determine whether certain words and pictures and values are appropriate? What is the government's role? None of these questions is easy, which is why this discussion is so important, not just here, but more importantly in communities and in homes across the nation. The sexist and racial stereotypes in much of today's media are culturally poisonous. Many of us see its effects in our neighborhoods every day. But the hallmark of an open society is the right to speak and to create art without governmental interference. Like Chairman Rush, I respect the First Amendment, and I am wary of interfering in a way that stifles free expression. Censorship of media that we find offensive is a dangerous game. Who decides what music or movies merit fines or restrictions? Why, for instance, does Walmart ban the sale of explicit music with parental advisory warnings and yet continues to sell Grand Theft Auto, in which players are encouraged to stomp on and rape women? Government censorship will be equally arbitrary, and it is a slippery slope down which I don't want to go. This hearing recognizes the power of entertainment and culture in our lives. I believe art both reflects and influences society. Artists and corporations need to understand that role and take it seriously. I don't believe in censorship, but I also don't believe that corporations should reap financial rewards by promoting intolerance and bigotry. Consumers too need to take responsibility. Consumers, we've seen, can have a major impact, as we saw in the pressure that resulted in the firing of Don Imus, with the growing demand for more positive lyrics and less violent videos. I want my 4 grandchildren to grow up in a society that treats all of its members with respect, but I'm equally concerned with protecting their freedom of creativity. This is why I thank the chairman for calling this hearing and giving all stakeholders here the opportunity to start a dialogue that can achieve both goals. I don't think that's impossible. I take this issue very seriously, and I look forward to the discussion. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
I want to thank the gentlelady. The gentleman from Nebraska, Mr. Terry, is recognized for 5 minutes of opening statement. Thank you in all ways. The gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. Butterfield, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I thank you and I thank the ranking member for arranging this hearing today. I understand that you had some difficulty in getting it arranged. You told me a few months ago that you were going to do it, and finally the day has come. And so thank you very much for your work in this area. In reading the material that we received in our offices a couple of days ago, I noticed that the title of this hearing is From Imus to Industry. I'm not sure that that is the best title for this hearing. I wish we had had some discussion about that. We probably could have come up with another title that would have been less antagonistic to the industry, but having said that, we are here today and hopefully we will have a productive hearing. Mr. Chairman, Americans have forever enjoyed being entertained, whether through music, movies, or video games. These devices have made their way into the homes of nearly all Americans, where music lyrics are mimicked, movie lines are quoted, and video game characters are emulated. Through these various media outlets, stereotypes are exaggerated and women are at times degraded. That is most unfortunate. Are these lyrics and images a sign of the times? Are the producers of these products merely responding to society's status quo? Or is our increasingly tumultuous society causing these offensive trends in entertainment? And Mr. Chairman, I believe that this is a cyclical problem. It raises larger societal issues than what is being addressed with this hearing. Music is playing a larger part than ever in American society. It is without question that the artists who perform these songs with questionable lyrics or suggestive themes pull from the personal experiences that they've had in their lives in order to arrive at their final product. Whether we like it or not, this is the culture that we find ourselves in today. I attended a hip-hop summit a few weeks ago at A&T State University in my home state of North Carolina, and just on a few days' notice, there were thousands of students attending this hip-hop summit. Some of those could not even enter the Coliseum. And so, Mr. Chairman, I fully believe that I believe in the First Amendment. Certainly, we all do. I have been in the legal profession for many years, served many years as a judge, and years before that as a lawyer. And so I, for one, certainly believe in the First Amendment right that we have under our Constitution. And so the chairman is correct. We must uphold the First Amendment rights that we have in this country. Our society is nothing without the First Amendment. With that said, however, I think the artists, and two of those artists are here today and perhaps more, they are here and they have the knowledge that millions of Americans would idolize them and imitate them and emulate them. And so they have an obligation. Yes, they have an obligation to record music and to make their movies and to make their videos in a responsible fashion. The artists need to know that they're positions of power, and they have positions of power. If you think members of Congress have positions of power, I want you to know that the artists have profound positions of power. They are attractive to our youth, and so their influence should be positive. The artists whose music we are exposed to on a daily basis are driven by powerful record labels, and they too have a fiduciary responsibility to their stockholders to produce what sells. That's basic corporate law 101. Corporations are in the business of producing a profit for their stockholders, and none of us want to diminish that. But the record labels have a large responsibility, and they have a responsibility to our society, that they not sit idly by and allow these lyrics and the music video images from invading impressionable minds. Studies suggest that exposure to media violence increases levels of aggression, leading to increased crime, and music and movie and video games that promote gang activity and crime and degradation of women have a direct impact on the way impressionable individuals lead their lives. The entertainment industry as a whole, the artists and the actors and record labels and video game designers and large media conglomerates must work together. I have a daughter who is a hip-hop executive, and I have told her on numerous occasions we all have a responsibility and an obligation to society. And so we must all continue to work together to try to solve the problem that we are facing today. But the responsibility does not terminate with the industry. Parents and children and consumers must be vigilant about what they are buying for themselves and their families. The only way to solve this problem of stereotypes and degrading images in the media is to work together. That's the message that I'm delivering today. We must all work together and not engage in a confrontation. I'm going to yield back, Mr. Chairman. I will submit my remaining statement for the record.
Mr. Chair, thanks, gentlemen. The gentlelady from Tennessee, Ms. Blackburn, is recognized for 5 minutes of opening statements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding the hearing. We appreciate this and want to welcome all of our witnesses who are here from media, entertainment, academia. We appreciate your time. I especially want to give a welcome to Dr. Tracy Deneen Sharpley-Whitting. She is from Vanderbilt University and will be with us on one of our panels today. Today's topic, as you are hearing, is extremely sensitive. Many people have strong feelings regarding the lyrical and visual content portrayed in popular music, and these are not altogether positive. As a mother, a room mother for my children as they were growing up, and I understand and share many of the concerns that you're hearing expressed here today. However, there are equally passionate voices on the other side of the issue that cherish the purity of the creative process and view today's proceedings as an assault on an artist's First Amendment rights. So I anticipate that we are going to hear from both sides of this before the day is done, and my hope is that we are going to have a better understanding and probably a bit more nuanced perspective as we look at the issue going forward. After all, I cannot and will not begin to read back many of the lyrics written by the two gentlemen that are going to be on the second panel. They are obscene, regardless of when they were written and to what audience they were directed. And in my opinion, they do not deserve the dignity of this committee's time. It raises a good question, though, for these individuals. Where and how did society fail you to the point that you would choose to write such filth? I find it very sad. I find it very, very sad that there would be such a societal failing that you would choose to write such filth. Yet, no matter what I think of the lyrical quality, I cannot and will not begin to consider legislative remedies that put us on the slippery slope of silencing our nation's creators. But that does not absolve policymakers, community leaders, and families from taking an active role in combating the pervasive influence that perverse, misogynist, and racially insensitive pop culture content plays in our society today. We must do our part in explaining to our children that what they see on TV and hear on the radio may not always reflect reality. And the job doesn't stop there. Our friends and partners in the corporate entertainment industry must remain actively involved in the fight to promote artists and entertainers who carry a positive image. One of the things we have to remember is that as corporate executives, you know and you work with the understanding that choices have consequences. You also understand that your standards reflect the core values for your company. We will be interested in talking about those core values. I do not pretend to fully understand the pressures that the recording industry faces today, from epidemic piracy to the transition to the digital platform, but I do understand that corporate leaders in the music business are our partners in helping to build a better community. They're rising to the challenge. We will be interested to know what you are doing for charities and with charities and with education on how to properly use entertainment products. I also understand that much of the world forms their perception of America by what they see on the screen and stage and what they hear across the airwaves. In this regard, you do hold the world in your hands. My hope is that you are going to handle it very carefully, and remember that with our great nation, perception is many times reality in the eyes of those beholders. Mr. Chairman, I thank you for your diligent work. I look forward to visiting with our witnesses as we proceed through the day. I welcome them all, and I yield the balance of my time.
The Chair thanks the gentlelady. The gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Barrow, is recognized for the purposes of opening statements for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank you and Ranking Member Stearns for calling this hearing. I want to thank you for taking this subject on. You know, there are some problems where the only thing worse than talking about the problem is not talking about the problem. So I commend you for your willingness to take this subject on. I can't think of anything I could add to your statement, Mr. Chairman, to set the stage for this. So in the interest of time, I'm going to yield the balance of my time. I want to thank you once again for calling this hearing.
Chair thanks the gentleman. The gentleman from California, Mr. Radonovic, is recognized for 5 minutes of opening statements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate your efforts and Ranking Member Stearns, and appreciate the fact that you're holding